So perhaps you've been following along at home with your own fracking scorecard, but let's quickly wrap up all the different issues that we've addressed. I've shown here in red things that I think are really unsolvable problems about fracking that are serious disadvantages. In green are ways in which fracking actually is surprisingly a better alternative than just about anything else you can do. And the ones that are in black here are areas where there are problems with fracking where I suggest some specific solutions. So with our toxic chemicals, we talked about how spills, it's really hard to figure out how to regulate and deal with something that's so spread out as all the oil and gas wells that we've got, and keeping track of every single person and preventing human error. With earthquakes, we found that recycling fluids is going to reduce the amount of waste we've got and therefore reduce the amount of injection that we need to do. So we can actually reduce the earthquake risk substantially, probably to a quite tolerable level. With water use, we found that surprisingly, even though there's those millions of gallons, fracking is actually a pretty good way to save water compared to other energy sources. Air pollution was a real problem, but there are both regulatory and technological solutions that we probably should be putting in place to help solve them. Are oil and gas companies evil? Well, they're run by people who react to real incentives, and bigger fines could help that out. They might not, but it's certainly there's currently a big gap in the fines versus what actually would be needed to have real disincentives to do things poorly. Our last two areas, I think, are the most important. I think this is where the real decision of fracking needs to come, because these two issues are bigger than all the other ones combined. Greenhouse gas emissions could really drastically reshape the climate on our planet. And while natural gas is better than some energy sources, it's worse than a lot of others, and leaks are a problem that are really hard to solve. So that's an issue. On the other hand, natural gas is cheap. It brings us closer to energy independence. So it has some costs, but it also has some benefits. And this is where we really need to draw not on necessarily on science, but also on the economists to try and figure out, do the costs outweigh the benefits? And that's the type of decision that you'd have to make as an informed citizen. And I honestly don't know the answer. I certainly think that we should be moving towards renewable energy sources.